Let me say it again. It's 9 yuan, 9 yuan an hour. If you want more than that, talk to the boss yourself. This is the hiring scene at an electronics factory in Guangzhou. Most of the people in line are college students working part-time during their summer break. Last year, wages this low already appeared in Guangzhou. This summer, 9 yuan or $1 per hour jobs are popping up in many factories again. But even jobs like these aren't easy to find. In many cities, bus stations, parks, and public squares are filled with people who can't find work and end up wandering the streets. They spend their days running around the city looking for a job just to survive, and at night, they sleep wherever they can. This is the Longhua bus station in Shenzhen. Even at night, it's still bustling with activity. Everywhere you look, there are people from other places who came here to work. This is where they rest. This girl from Guizhou, who calls herself a drifter, is crying on the street alone. She's been drifting around for half a year, from Shanghai to Suzhou to Zhejiang, but she hasn't found a job and is planning to return home. Every June and July, millions of student workers head south to big cities like Guangzhou and Shenzhen, hoping to find a good job. They flood the job market only to crash at factory gates, battered and forced to retreat as their dreams are crushed. In the video, this factory only has 20 positions, but 230 eager young people are fighting for them. There's no other choice. Everyone is struggling to survive. This helpless and bitter scene shows just how tough it is to find a job. I really can't find a job in Guangzhou, so I'm planning to head to Shenzhen now to see if I can find something there. I don't expect anything high up. I'm just planning to get a factory job, maybe screw in bolts. I'm at the Guangzhou South Station now, but tickets are all sold out. This young man says he got scammed while job hunting in Guangzhou and hasn't eaten all day. It's already past 7 p.m. and he's heading to Shenzhen, hoping to get lucky. But many people commented under the video saying it's just as hard to find a job in Shenzhen. One person said they've been looking for over 20 days without success. Another commented that they have been looking for more than 2 months and are about to give up. Someone else said they can't find a job in Shenzhen and are planning to go to Guangzhou instead. This young woman, who has been working in Shenzhen for a few years, advises others not to come to Shenzhen because it's no longer suitable for regular workers. You might not even find a job and the wages are low.
Shenzhen isn't really friendly to ordinary people anymore because many basic industries are gone. Now it's all e-commerce and big factories, and regular people can't get in. If your income is low, you can't survive in Shenzhen. The cost of living is pretty high. Rent and prices have gone up, but wages are going down. Many companies are laying off workers, and finding a job isn't that easy. I used to take home over 9,000 yuan after social security deductions, but now it's already down by 20%. I'm thinking of quitting because the company is also delaying payments, and I might have to go to labor arbitration to resolve it, which is a huge waste of time. If you don't have a job here, your expenses are still very high.
This girl with tears in her eyes says she found a job in Shenzhen with a 3-month probation period. She had 12 days left until the probation period ended, and she thought she'd be able to stay, but her boss told her to start looking for a new job and that they wouldn't be giving her any more work starting today. One person said this is a common tactic used by factories. They keep hiring new people, paying them the lowest wages possible. Some even go through a 6-month probation period, only to be let go afterward. The current job market in China is really tough. Just look at this year's situation for college graduates. According to official data, there are 11.8 million college graduates in 2024, setting a new record high. A recent report by Zhaopin, a Chinese job recruitment platform, shows that more than half of this year's college graduates haven't secured a job yet. College graduates, who were once envied by everyone, have completely lost their market value. With the number of graduates skyrocketing, it's become common for them to face unemployment right after graduating. I'm really about to break down. Is it really this hard for college graduates to find a new job? After graduating with a bachelor's degree, I've realized that college graduates are everywhere. You can find them in large numbers. Today is July 21st, 2024. It's been over half a month since I left school. I rented a small room by myself and every day I send out resumes through several job hunting apps. But I rarely get any responses. The pride of being a college graduate feels like a burden I can't shake off. I just don't understand why companies hiring fresh graduates all require 1 or 2 years of work experience. How can any graduate have work experience right after leaving school? And when I finally get an interview, I'm always rejected for reasons like lack of experience, wrong major, or too much competition. These reasons feel like mountains pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. Graduating from an ordinary university, I feel powerless. I keep lowering my expectations, but still can't find a suitable job. The ones who suffer the most are college graduates from rural areas. Without family connections, it's incredibly difficult to find a suitable job in a society like China's, where personal connections are so important. I'm really breaking down over this job search. Do college graduates from rural areas even have a chance? I studied so hard for over 10 years, hoping that going to college would change my life, but now I've graduated and can't even find a job. How am I supposed to repay my parents? College graduates are everywhere, with hundreds competing for a single job. Employers are super picky, and salaries just keep dropping, leaving no room to negotiate. It's been a year since I graduated. I rented a tiny 9-square-meter room in the city and worked 2 jobs, but each time I was let go as soon as the probation period ended. The reason? Not enough experience, not suitable for the position. I really don't get it. Why do companies require a year of work experience from fresh graduates? Why do they always let me go after the probation period? Graduates from regular universities have no confidence at all. After losing my job, I'm filled with self-doubt, anxiety, and depression every day. What's the point of going to college? I can't stay in the city anymore. I'm going back to the countryside. It's only after returning to the countryside that I realize how hard it is for kids from poor rural families to move up in life. Recently, a 22-year-old girl from Shandong, who just graduated this year, vented about not being able to find a job, questioning the value of going to college. This has sparked public concern. She says she's been out there for over a month and still hasn't found a job. In her dorm, 5 out of the 7 girls haven't found jobs either. She sent out tons of resumes online, but most companies haven't responded. She questioned whether companies are still hiring, if the job market is truly saturated, and if there really is no future for college graduates after they finish school. This girl, after graduating, has been unable to find a suitable job, so she's now working part-time at a supermarket where the low wages barely allow her to get by.
Earning money is really tough. Working at the supermarket, I only make 100 yuan for a 10-hour shift, which isn't enough for meals. A simple boxed meal costs 15 yuan, so I have to make do with just a piece of bread.
Why is it so hard for this year's college graduates to find jobs? It's not just because there are more graduates, but more importantly, it's due to the sluggish economy in China. Unemployment rates are already high, especially among young people. Data shows that in June, the unemployment rate for urban youth aged 16 to 24, excluding students, was 13%. Although this is slightly down from May's 14%, it still means that about 1 in 7 young people in this age group is unemployed. With 11.8 million college graduates entering the job market in July, the real youth unemployment rate is likely to increase significantly. But the Chinese government still finds ways to make the numbers look better by sticking to its usual practice of falsifying data. One person mentioned that in their dorm, none of the 6 people had secured a job by the end of June, yet they were all still required to submit an employment confirmation. Without it, they wouldn't receive their graduation and degree certificates. The students had no choice but to cooperate with the school to fake the data. This official approach only aims to make the data look good without addressing the real issues. According to a report by Voice of America, a teacher from a university in Guangzhou told reporters that while the school demands accurate employment data, the authorities below often allow or even encourage flexible reporting. The teacher mentioned that some students, feeling pressured by their instructors to find jobs, would log into the employment platform and submit false employment proof especially those preparing for civil service exams or further studies. They would either create or obtain a certificate to register as freelancers, which would count as being employed in official statistics. In China, the unemployment rate is so low because it's difficult to be considered unemployed. For example, China's employment standard is if you work for more than 1 hour per week, it counts as employment. So even if you deliver food for 1 hour a week or set up a stall for 1 hour, you're not considered unemployed. Also, if you quit your job voluntarily, you're not considered unemployed. Only those who are laid off are counted. The surveyed urban unemployment rate doesn't include rural areas, and groups like housewives and students are also excluded. And to be considered unemployed, you must have worked before and paid into Social Security for more than a year. So even if college graduates can't find a job, they won't be counted as unemployed. If you exclude the so-called flexible employment workers, the real unemployment rate is likely much higher. Actually, every year, 90% of the employment opportunities for college graduates are provided by private enterprises. However, in recent years, many private companies have gone out of business due to various forms of pressure from the Chinese government. Even those that have survived are cutting jobs and salaries to reduce costs and improve efficiency. The woman in the video shows us the harsh reality of China's current economic situation through her lens.
你们的公司现在还活着吗？
Is your company still surviving? Have you noticed that making money this year has become especially difficult? Look at this. It's all empty and cold. This huge office is completely deserted. The jewelry business has cooled down. This is a shared office area, and I remember in March and April, it was packed with people during the recruitment season. Now it's completely empty. You can see the whole floor is vacant. What's even more shocking is that downstairs from our company, there's a massive mall covering thousands of square meters. It's now noon, and even during lunchtime, there's no one around. It's all cold, empty, and deserted. People used to say that if you want to start a business, go into the food industry. Let me show you. It's deserted too. Even large restaurants covering hundreds of square meters haven't been spared. One after another, they're closing down. Some might argue that the shop is just closed, so let's check it out during peak hours. It's now 12:45 p.m. and this hot pot restaurant, which spans thousands of square meters, has gone out of business too. I remember when I used to eat at their place in Hangzhou, I had to wait in line for 2 hours. There are so many closed shops behind me that I can't possibly capture them all.
So this year, many private companies consider themselves lucky if they can maintain their current scale and keep running smoothly. No boss is thinking about expanding or hiring more employees, and the state-owned enterprises can't solve the employment problem for nearly 12 million college graduates. These jobs often have strict requirements, and there aren't many openings. The most crucial factor is that these relatively good jobs have long been secured by students with connections and family backgrounds. Rural kids from ordinary families don't stand a chance. As a result, many of this year's graduates will likely have to settle for so-called flexible employment, doing jobs like food delivery or courier services. Even those who graduated in previous years are struggling. This 26-year-old rural college graduate has been out of school for 4 years, and now she's back home helping her parents because she can't find a job. Every day she faces her parents nagging, wondering what was the point of raising her, feeling like a complete failure. She reflects.
The biggest mistake of my life was probably going to college. I spent 26 years of my youth for a degree that's worth nothing. Kids from poor families really shouldn't go to school. My parents sold everything they had to send me to college, and in the end, I couldn't find a job and ended up with student debt. With no job opportunities, my parents think I'm useless, and employers either think I'm too old, lack experience, or don't want to hire a woman. My peers have probably already bought houses, cars, gotten married, and had kids. At this awkward age, I don't even know whether I should focus on finding a job or finding a partner first.
This young man on the verge of a breakdown is a 32-year-old with a master's degree. He's unemployed and can't find a job, so he's delivering food. After studying for more than 10 years, he's ended up as cheap labor, which he finds incredibly frustrating.
我是农村出来的研究生。
I'm a graduate student from a rural area. I thought I could change my fate through education, but now I'm in my 30s, unemployed at 32, and can't find a job. All I can do now is deliver food, and I've become a failure in my parents' eyes, and a laughingstock among relatives and friends. If I had known how hard it would be to find a job, I wouldn't have pursued a master's degree. It cost my parents a lot of money, and now I'm just another low-wage laborer delivering food. In recent years, the overall deterioration of China's political and economic environment, along with the Chinese government's crackdown on private enterprises and the service industry, has led to the downfall of China's three most profitable sectors: real estate, finance, and the internet. They are no longer as prosperous as they once were. For most college graduates, physical labor isn't their first choice. Fields like technology, education, real estate, and foreign companies are still among the top options, but unfortunately, these positions are becoming increasingly scarce. The real estate industry is in shambles and has relied on government support for nearly 3 years. Despite all the efforts to revive it, there's no sign of improvement. According to estimates by the real estate research organization Ke Research Institute, about 1.6 million people were employed in real estate development in China in 2023, a significant drop from the peak of 2.1 million in 2021, resulting in nearly 500,000 job losses. Bloomberg Economics predicts that by 2026, the real estate's share of China's GDP might shrink to around 16%, putting roughly 5 million people at risk of unemployment or reduced income. The internet industry is now saturated, with overall growth slowing down, incomes dropping, and working hours remaining long. Big companies like JD.com, Taobao, and Pinduoduo are fiercely competing for the same user base. They're busy laying off employees rather than hiring. The finance industry has also lost its luster, with banks struggling to handle overdue loans and bad debts. Not only are they unable to create new jobs, but layoffs and pay cuts are becoming more common, with some banks even asking employees to return part of their salaries. China's tutoring industry once had a market size exceeding 3 trillion yuan, employing millions of people. However, the double reduction education policy introduced by the Chinese government in 2021 to limit private tutoring and reduce homework has wiped out many of these jobs or driven them underground. With the introduction of China's national security law and anti-espionage law, the business environment for foreign companies in China has worsened, leading to many foreign enterprises either leaving China or downsizing, which has also resulted in significant job losses for Chinese workers. In this context, it has become even harder for college graduates to find jobs, and young people are more likely to face unemployment. The food delivery industry, which many saw as a last resort job, is now oversaturated with college graduates who can't find other work. As a result, both orders and income have sharply declined. The competition is fierce, and what's even more concerning is that with technological advancements, the number of jobs in this industry is decreasing. For example, Meituan is already using driverless vehicles to replace delivery workers, and robots are being used in package sorting lines. Another major employer of the unemployed, ride-hailing, is also being threatened by autonomous taxis in many big cities. So unless China's economic situation improves significantly, the unemployment wave is going to be hard to stop. Some experts warn that if the unemployment problem among young people in China continues to worsen, social unrest might just be a matter of time. The recent unrest in Bangladesh, which led to the change in government, was sparked by students protesting against the country's discriminatory civil service recruitment system. The bureaucratic privileges left many graduates without job opportunities, leaving them hopeless. The student protests in Bangladesh might serve as a model for young people in China. If they lose hope, they might take to the streets to resist the Chinese government's rule. This is the outcome of those in power, especially Xi Jinping, fear the most.